Hey everyone, it's Louis Tuminaro, the Gunfather, and welcome to the Custom Shop. You know, we get a lot of questions on do we restore grips? Well, the answer is yeah, we do. Let us show you some of our tips on how to make your wood grips on your revolvers a little bit better. Okay everybody, so I chose 4 guns here at our shop, 3 which need to be restored. We have an old set of Smith & Wessons that I'd like to show you also. And I'd like to show you Smith & Wesson 38 that we did already. Okay, just to show you guys, like this had clear, missing off of it. These look like an absolutely brand new set. I'm not saying that every set can come out like this, but we're going to show you our tricks of the trade to make these grips look a lot better. All right, so let's get started. So these 3 guns came to us for some service work and so on. So the FFL that shipped us these guns, this is a Smith & Wesson 38. This is a Colt Python stainless 357. And this is a Smith & Wesson in a 357. So the FFL that shipped the customer's guns to us, threw them all in a box, had no regard, didn't put them in like soft zippered cases and then put them in a box. And what happened was these particular grips were getting all scratched, dinged, because a lot of these parts are sharp. So it's very, very important in shipping guns, that you take care of them. I mean, look at this. I mean, this set of grips is ruined. I'll show you how we can disguise this a little bit. But for the most part, these grips are ruined. This pair over here, these are ruined also. Okay, you can see that big gouge out of there. You see all these scratches. All this, you could tell it's fresh. The video is not necessarily about making these particular guns brand new. It's how you can restore your own grips with a pretty simple method that we use. First thing we're going to do is we are going to take the grips off of the revolvers. Okay, so now let's look at each pair and let's do our magic. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at these and we're going to kind of see, where the bad spots are, and we're going to look at the finish on them. So this one's got a lot of chips up here. It's got some down here. Also pretty bad over here. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm not going to say it's magic, but this is the product that we use. These guys have been a great sponsor for us on our television show on the Outdoor Channel, the Gunfather Restorations. It's a company called Birchwood KC. Okay, it's True Oil. This is a very, very good product. I've been using this product for probably 20 years. I'm going to show you guys just how we apply this to make these grips look like new again. All right, I got these 2 little containers. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some True Oil. This is a little Scotch Brite red. And what we're going to do is we're going to just blend. Now you can still see, where the raw wood is compared to where the oil is. But we're just trying to make it smooth to where it blends. I mean, there's some little dents and things like that. Again, we're just trying to make them look a lot better than they did. Back over here, this one's pretty bad. Okay, and you can see, if you look real carefully, where the raw wood is compared to the oil. This is something you can do at home. Kitchen table. I mean, that's where my dad used to work on his guns. We didn't have a lot when we grew up. So, okay, so this is looking pretty good. I put a couple of little racks right here because we're going to take these when we're done and set these down. All right. And then we're not going to be able to touch them for a couple of days because we got to let them dry. The object is to have patience and let the oil dry. Like these took, I don't know, 2-3 days to dry. But, I mean, these look amazing. And these had those little marks on them, too. All right, now this is like a semi-sheen. If you wanted to make a pair really, really kind of oily but dull, you could take and put a little mineral spirits in here. The mineral spirits would make it so that it doesn't make it just all oil, and it'll make it a little bit flatter looking. These really did come out nice. I'm pretty proud of myself on these. Okay, so I have a paintbrush here. We're going to start oiling these. Don't need a lot. You know, we're giving these grips new life. Now these will become a little bit duller, but look at this one and look at the difference. Now what's going to happen is the reason why this is lighter is that it's down to the raw wood, so you may have to do this 1 or 2 more times afterwards. We're going to let this sit now for a couple of days. Okay. Let's go do the other panel. Now I brought a stained marker, a little Minwax marker with me. I just wanted to try something, and again, it may make it a little too dark, it may not. I just want to take a look and to see if the stain will help me before I do it, okay? So I'm going to go very, very lightly. This thing is like running like a faucet, but that's okay. A little bit, you know, not much. You know, what this does need is more coats. I just wanted to see if it would darken it a little bit. You know, but look at this over here. This panel looks like it's brand new. And a lot of the fine lines that are in there, they'll come out. It's kind of self-leveling a little bit. Now, when I'm getting close to the medallion, believe it or not, this is so thin. I go right over the medallion. Look at how nice this looks. Yeah, we can see a little bit of light right here, but then again, that's raw wood, and this has got some oil on it. So if you know, you can take these, set these down, do this 1 or 2 more times, and that'll come out. These grips look night and day compared to the way they were a couple of minutes ago. All right, let's move on to the next set here. So here's a pair of Smith & Wessons. This is a large frame. You can see everywhere that these are a lot of use on these also. Big line right here. That was probably done when they were all shipped together. Some of these are just hard use. Okay, now we're not sanding these all the way down to the raw. We're just smoothing the surfaces and putting some oil on them. So let's do the butt on this and let's just see. All right, so now without taking all of the oil off, you know, this looks a lot better already. So I hope you guys can understand that if you really wanted to make this pair of grips literally brand new looking, okay, what you could do is you could take sandpaper and you can sand out all of these marks. Spend the time and then just put 2, 3, 4 coats of oil on them. But again, we're just showing you guys how you can make the grips look a lot nicer with not a lot of work. You know, we're reconditioning these grips. We're not literally restoring these grips. I guess that's the best word to use. Tell you what, before we do the other one, let's put some oil on here so we can really see the difference before and after, okay? All right, guys, so look at this now. Look at that. That's with Birchwood KC True Oil. So we're going to let these dry again. Put these over here. And let's go do this other panel. So this grip looks good now. And now let's put some oil on here. This particular customer doesn't even know that I'm doing his grips. You know, I'm just doing them because I felt really bad. You know, customer loves his guns. And they came in damaged. I think he's going to be pretty surprised when he gets these back. Look at that. Now what happens is if you put it on just right with a decent brush and so on, it's all like kind of self-leveling. So you're not going to see all the brush marks and so on. I'm going to lay that set down. Now we have 2 sets over there that are drying that just look like, they don't even look like the same grips. We got another pair of Smith & Wesson grips right here. These are probably more beat up than those 2, but Again, let's just do them so we can see the difference. We'll call this reconditioning. So this pair is pretty bad. I got some paper over here. You know, like when I'm working on a gun, you know, this very, very sharp line right here is ruined. Okay, it's just gone. So we're going to soften it up a little bit, but it will have a little bit of a rounded edge to it, but it'll look way better than if I did nothing. I'm using a 400 grit, and the only reason is because I don't want to go through the oil, but I think I'm going to grab a little 320 right now and take this off. You can hear it, and look, it's just coming right off. Here's a real bad zinger right here. Look at that. Look how bad that is. You know, since we're doing this, let's see if we can get that out. All right, guys, you got me. This is almost like a full grip restoration on this one. That's okay. Like if you went on eBay, a new pair of these grips is going to run you 250 bucks. I think we're going to do the checkering on these two, guys. All right, so let me get down in here. Let's see if we can make this one look like that one. So 320 seems to be the ticket, okay, for what we're doing here. This panel is not as bad as that one. So let me Scotch Brite this first. Now I want everybody to know that I'm not charging the customer to do this, nothing like that at all. This is just to show everyone how you can make your own grips really, really nice. If I was going to do these and if I was going to charge a customer, you can bet your life I'd get every mark out of these and I would go pretty crazy and probably spend hours working on these. That's not the case here. This is just kind of to show everyone what you can do, okay? So if you do see some marks afterwards, I expect to. Let's put some oil on here. Let's see what it looks like. This area always looks really, really nice when you do it. I'm going to take this, I'm going to lay these down right here, and then I'm going to just do the checkering right now. So this little how-to video started out as a simple one, and now it's becoming a little more involved, which is good. I'm having fun doing this, but there we go. Now if you look real carefully over here, that you can see that it's drying, okay, and that it's going to need another coat. You can see that it's drying out, which is fine. Let's let it dry out. So the last set we're going to do, and I don't know how much we can do with these. This is a Colt Python set, all right? So I think just what we're going to do on this set, because this gouge right here kills these grips. We can't rechecker them because there's wood missing. So let's go back to this little stain stick here. But do you see that right there? You see how much darker it is now because it was raw before? That's what I was trying to get at right there, was just trying to get it just a little bit darker. Didn't want to go over there that well, but that was the most important one that I wanted to try to cover. So let's take a little bit of oil, let's go over it, and there's not too much we can do with these. I'm just doing the checkering panel here. But, you know something? It doesn't, yeah, it's still bad, but it doesn't have that white gouge in it. A pair of grips like these are going to have to be completely sanded, but they're never going to look good because of here. So this is a nice pair of used grips that someone can purchase down the road if the customer wants to sell them. But we're not going to get into this pair. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. You know, we did 3 pairs of grips here. Here's a finished pair, and you can see just how nice they look, but it takes time, right? So we have 1 pair, 2 pairs, 3 pairs. These are going to sit for 2 or 3 days. All right, once these end up sitting, I can take them and then I can put another coat on them again. I may even put oil on the 2 checkering patterns in here, because when I'm looking at these 2, they look actually really, really good. Okay guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to let these sit for a few days. I might move them to a different area where there's not so much traffic and so on. But we're going to let these sit for a few days, and then we are going to get back to you, and you wait and see the next video. It's been a couple of days now, given the True Oil a chance to dry, and let me show you guys what we're going to do. On this one set, okay, I didn't have to do that much sanding down to the raw. So there's a few areas, okay, where it's dry. All right, when you look at that, that's fine, because we're going to coat it again today. These look way better, but we're going to put a second coat on these. Now this set I had to do a lot more sanding on, but if you look over here where I really had to sand, you can see how dry it is. Here's a smaller pair of Smith & Wessons, and these look pretty good. I don't think I'm going to do anything else to these. And on this Python over here, we had that really bad dig in here. And I put a little bit of stain in here, and then I put some clear on there. And I don't think we're going to bother with these, but at least it doesn't look so bad being down to the raw wood. And then what's going to happen now is that we're going to put a coat on these. We're going to let these dry, and then we're going to see in another couple of days again what they look like. If they look great, we'll put them back on the guns and we'll show you what they look like. I meant to tell you guys that when I put some oil in the checkering here, you know, it really did look good. I think I'm going to put some oil in here also. Oh, and there's one thing also I wanted to mention to you guys was this over here. Believe it or not, by the brass escutcheons that they put in and so on, sometimes they develop some green mold, believe it or not. So if you look over here, there's a little bit of green mold right here. So a lot of times what I do is I have my little pick tool, and I'm just going to, like, look at that. And we'll get that out. You see all that green? Like, look at all, I don't know if you can even see this on the tip here, you know, but all that green on there. We want to get that off. All right, let's get started. So we'll start out with this pair. This is probably the pair that needs another pretty good coat on here. If you look at the bottoms too, you can see how dry it is right here. All right, so this pair, even though I didn't do the checkering, I'm going to do the checkering now. I'm going to coat this whole pair again. If you guys look at these, I mean, to me, they look night and day difference. There's an area right over here that was all grooved out and was in the raw. And now, believe it or not, with us doing the checkering and so on, you can almost barely even see that. You know, where definitely made these from a 60 to 70% grade, say, of grips to like a 85, 90. So what's going to happen now is that we're going to take a couple more days for these to dry, and then we're going to reassess them again. So then if in a couple of days, if these aren't dry, we're going to coat them again, okay, just so that we can make them all even. I want to thank Birchwood Casey. They're a great company. I've been doing business with them for a long time. Again, they help sponsor our television show on the Outdoor Channel. So they're a great company, and this is a really, really good product. It doesn't take much to do this, except for just a little time. We'll talk to you in a couple of days. We did our second round of True Oil, and I think we're going to stop there. These guns came in for some gunsmithing issues. As I told you guys, there was some damage in shipping done to the grips. So we just did a quick makeover. We didn't do anything real special, but I wanted everyone to see, as a recap, putting some oil on your grips can make a really big difference. So here is 38 Special. This is a stainless Smith & Wesson. This one had a really deep groove here. We took a little bit of it out. There was a lot of finish missing on these grips. So now if you look, they feel good. They're soft. They're smooth. They look from a little bit of a distance like they're new, but when you look up on them, okay, it does still show some indentations in the wood. This is not a complete restoration of grips. This is just us oiling them and making them, look a lot better than they did. We have a 357 Magnum here. I think that these look dynamite. Look at the bottoms of these. There was no finishing on these. And here's a Colt Python in a 357. And again, I really didn't do anything to these besides put some stain inside here and just put some oil back in here. That's all I did on that. And then we had that last set of grips that, the finish was peeling all over, and now, they look beautiful. I want everybody to see also, it only took a couple of seconds, a couple minutes, I should say. But I want everybody to see that I faced the screws on the Smith & Wessons. If you look to see how nice that looks, because the screw heads were all boogered up. And when you look at those screw heads, they look like they're brand new now. And I took this one from the Python that was all chewed up, okay, and I put a new one on the Python. That's going to close this video on our grips. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun doing this. This is something that you can do at home. This is just something that I did very quickly and I spent a little bit of time on. But if you do want to take your grips and make them look like new, okay, well, you can do the same thing, all right? You can sand them completely down. You can take out every nick and scratch and so on off of these, and then you can put your coatings back on there. And if you don't want them as shiny as this, well, you can put a little bit of mineral spirits into the oil and mix it in, and it'll dilute it a little bit. And then this way here, you'll get a little bit more of a satin finish instead of the gloss. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. I really, really enjoyed doing this. It was a lot of fun. If you want to make your guns look a lot better, well, I hope you learned something here. Thank you very much, and have a great day.